Harper West navigated the exclusive tech-themed rooftop restaurant with a quiet grace that belied her modest uniform. The place buzzed with conversations of important people, billionaires and tech moguls whose casual talk of stock prices and industry trends was a foreign language to her. Tonight, Harper was here simply to serve, blending into the background among crystal chandeliers and panoramic city views. She carefully balanced a tray of sparkling cocktails, weaving through guests adorned in designer elegance. Their jewels glinted under the soft, ambient lights as if flaunting their wealth. Harper felt out of place amid the opulence, her own simple attire a stark contrast. Suddenly, a commotion broke the rhythm of the evening. A sharp pop echoed around the room, and gasps followed as people turned toward the source, a mass of acrid smoke rising from Jed Mallory's smart wristwatch, which now lay shattered on the table. The acclaimed tech mogul, known for his temper and genius alike, shot up from his seat, eyes blazing with accusation. "You," he shouted, pointing directly at Harper. "What did you do with my watch?" Harper froze, her heart pounding as faces turned toward her, some with pity but mostly with judgment. Whispers swirled around her like a gathering storm. "The server?" "Surely not," one guest murmured. But others snickered, dismissing her with cold eyes and smug smiles. The restaurant manager, flustered and eager to appease his elite clientele, approached swiftly, his decision seemingly made before hearing her side. "Miss West, you're dismissed from your duties immediately," he declared. "Leave now." Humiliation stung Harper's cheeks as she walked away, head down, eyes stinging. Despite her innocence, she bore the weight of invisible chains of guilt, stepping out into the night, both disgraced and heartbroken. Back in her modest apartment, Harper West sat at the cracked kitchen table, the evening's meal untouched. Her stomach churned, not with hunger, but with the anxiety that had taken root inside her since the disastrous night at the restaurant. The accusation replayed in her mind on a relentless loop, Jed Mallory's finger jabbing towards her, the piercing stares of the wealthy diners, and her quick dismissal, public and cold. The small apartment was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of a clock, each tick an unwelcome reminder of the time slipping past in which she remained jobless and wrongfully accused. Harper stared blankly out of the window, the city lights twinkling in the distance, a world she felt increasingly disconnected from. In the quiet hours of the night, sleep remained elusive. Harper lay awake, watching shadows creep across the ceiling, her mind circling back to how things had veered so sharply off course. Once, she had been at the precipice of a promising future, a top student in engineering at a prestigious college with boundless ambition. Back then, her dreams stretched far beyond the limits of her small town. She had worked tirelessly, earning scholarships through sheer determination and intellect. Yet, life had a way of unraveling even the best-laid plans. Her mother's health had taken a sudden turn, and without hesitation, Harper had left her studies to care for her family. The transition from calculus and lab reports to medicine schedules and financial worry was swift and brutal. As dawn edged its way into her room, Harper rose from bed, determined to push through another day. She moved methodically, making breakfast despite an absent appetite. The act was more ritualistic than necessary, a reminder of the rhythm of normalcy she desperately wished to reclaim. News of the incident spread swiftly, its toxic tendrils reaching her few job prospects and tarnishing her reputation. Acquaintances who might have offered support or employment were suddenly scarce, lost to the cloak of rumor and suspicion. Her phone remained silent, the weight of its inactivity another layer of her growing isolation. As she stood in front of her bare-bones closet, choosing a simple outfit for the day ahead, Harper couldn't help but reflect on the sheer effort it had taken just to secure the job at the restaurant. Even now, she could remember the nerves that came with the interview, the desperation in her eyes when explaining her gap in employment. The manager, initially skeptical, had given her a chance wiped away in a single explosive misunderstanding. Her thoughts drifted back to happier times, the crisp autumns of her college campus, her mother's hands, warm and enveloping in a hug after every successful exam, the flicker of pride in her father's eyes. Such memories were bittersweet, a comfort and a reminder of a life she was now far removed from. Sitting by the window again as the city came alive under the morning sun, Harper felt the sharp pang of the unfairness of it all. The injustice gnawed at her resolve. Yet, there was a flicker of defiance somewhere deep inside, a refusal to become another forgotten casualty of circumstance. Determined to at least attempt control over her narrative, Harper started jotting down notes, listing every detail she remembered from that disastrous night at the restaurant, every face, every word, every oddity. Her gaze fell on the name at the top of the list, Claire, Jed Mallory's assistant. Claire had been there, ever present beside her employer, yet her sudden disappearance from the room had seemed odd to Harper even then. Harper paused, sifting through her memories for any signs, any indicators she might have missed. Her mind snagged on the moment Claire had approached the table, moments before the explosion, and even more tellingly, her swift exit. Why hadn't she noticed it sooner? Feeling the first stirrings of determination, Harper knew she couldn't remain passive in this narrative any longer. She was ready to fight. Not just for the chance to reclaim her name, but for the dignity she deserved. It was time to take action, to push back against the labels unfairly placed upon her. Harper's phone vibrated, cutting through her moment of introspection. She picked it up to see a text, a small note from her best friend, Alyssa, who lived states away but always had a sense for when Harper might need a boost. Hey, thinking of you. Remember, you're smarter and stronger than all of this. Let me know if you need anything. Love you. Fresh tears sprang to Harper's eyes, unexpected in their warmth. She texted back quickly, grateful for the connection. Alyssa's words were a balm, pulling her a little further from the edge. By the end of the day, Harper had formulated a rough plan. Hunting down justice wouldn't be swift or easy, but she owed it to herself to at least try. The despair that had gripped her since the incident was slowly being replaced by another clearer emotion, resolve. This fight would take everything she had, but after all she had sacrificed, Harper wasn't ready to concede defeat. As the last rays of sun vanished from her apartment walls, she took a deep breath. Tomorrow would come, and with it, her first steps toward the truth. She was ready to meet it head-on. The following morning, Harper left her apartment with renewed resolve etched onto her features. She ventured into the heartbeat of the city, determined to start piecing together the puzzle surrounding the incident. As she walked, sounds of bustling traffic and snippets of conversation vibrated around her, yet her mind remained singularly focused on her goal. Her first stop was the restaurant, where she hoped to catch the manager before the lunch rush began. Moving through the familiar corridors, Harper couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia mixed with apprehension as she approached the office door of the manager, Mr. Laughlin. She knocked and was quickly beckoned inside. Mr. Laughlin's expression was stern when he looked up, clearly not expecting a return visit from a dismissed employee. Mr. Laughlin, Harper began, her voice steady yet pleading. I need to talk to you about that night, the night of the incident. I believe there's more to it than what it seemed. Mr. Laughlin leaned back, crossing his arms over his chest, the skepticism evident in his demeanor. Harper, it's a closed case as far as we're concerned. There was an incident, fingers were pointed, and the decision was made. What more is there to discuss? Not backing down, Harper interjected, there's surveillance footage, I've been told, and I remember something that just doesn't add up. Mr. Laughlin remained silent, prompting Harper to continue. Jed's assistant, Claire, she left right before Jed's smartwatch exploded, and I didn't realize it then, but it was unusual. You're suggesting I open up the footage just because of your suspicions? He asked with a hint of disbelief. Taking a deep breath, Harper replied, I wouldn't ask unless I was sure, sir. It's vital, not just for my future but for the integrity of this establishment and Jed's reputation. Mr. Laughlin sighed, studying her earnest eyes for a moment before relenting, fine, but I'll be monitoring the review. This isn't about proving your innocence, Harper, it's about ensuring no stones are left unturned for our own security. An hour later, they were in the surveillance room, screens flickering with timestamps and black and white footage. Harper's heart pounded as they fast-forwarded to the pivotal evening. Together, they watched, tension mounting with each passing second until the key moment arrived. There it was, clear as day. Claire hovered near Jed's table, her fingers deft at the band of his watch. Her actions were subtle, almost imperceptible, but undeniably suspicious. There. Harper pointed out, voice trembling with vindication. Claire did something to the watch. You see it, don't you, Mr. Laughlin? He leaned closer, eyes narrowing as he scrutinized the footage. Claire walked away with an air of practiced nonchalance, but her intent was unmistakable. I hate to admit it, but you were right, the manager admitted grudgingly, a frown creasing his forehead. But what now? Harper felt a surge of confidence. Now, I find out where she is and why she did it. It wasn't much to go on, but it was enough, a tangible thread she could tug on. After leaving the restaurant, Harper's next steps were clear. She needed to locate Claire and piece together her motivations. Armed with the footage Mr. Laughlin grudgingly airdropped to her phone, she started her quest by scouring the corners of the internet. Putting her dormant engineering skills to use, Harper delved into Claire's online presence, or rather, the lack of it. Claire had seemingly vanished from social media, her accounts wiped clean. This abnormal absence revealed more than it concealed. Someone was eager to eliminate even the smallest trace of her public persona. Thinking back to her college days, Harper remembered the tactics used in software classes to trace networks and locate digital footprints. She decided to reach out to an old classmate, Tom, who was now immersed in data analytics. A quick call later, she explained the situation in broad strokes to Tom, cautious not to dive into potentially damaging specifics. Can you help me? She asked, her voice tinged with desperation and hope. Always, Harper, Tom responded with genuine warmth. Send me what you have, I'll start looking. Within 24 hours, Tom got back to her with a promising lead. I found Claire's current location. It seems she checked into a hotel across town under a similar name. Most people aren't careful with everything, the trail wasn't entirely flawless. Armed with newfound direction and mounting anticipation, Harper headed to the address Tom provided. It was an upscale, unassuming hotel nestled away from the city's hustle, a perfect place for hiding in plain sight. Upon arrival, Harper stationed herself in the lobby, keeping a discreet eye out for Claire. As the hours trickled by, Harper pondered the possible outcomes, the weight of what she was doing settling uneasily in her chest. Then, just when patience began to wither, Harper's vigilance paid off. She spotted Claire, emerging from a car. Her demeanor was harried, casting wary glances about the lobby. Claire seemed to be on edge, as if the walls themselves were whispering about her. Harper approached with measured resolve, intercepting Claire's path. The former assistant's eyes widened, her face paling at the sight of Harper. What do you want? She hissed, taking a step back as if afraid Harper might ensnare her. I want the truth, Harper responded, meeting Claire's gaze with unwavering intensity. Why did you do it, Claire? I have you on video tampering with that watch. For a moment, Claire wavered, the facade of composure threatening to crack, but she quickly regained a hint of defiance. I don't know what you're talking about. You do. And I don't care for revenge, I just want my life back. Claire hesitated, her eyes dark with regret. I was framed too, she whispered, as if the admittance lifted a burden from her conscience. I had to sabotage Jed's reputation for someone else, otherwise, my own past would ruin me. Who? Harper asked softly, sensing the cavern of secrets widening between them. Someone who knows too much, Claire whispered. I couldn't say no. But I didn't want anyone to get hurt, least of all you. Harper sighed, adrenalized by her answer. There was more work to be done, more pieces yet displaced but aligning closer. The truth, not her enemy, rather, her stepping stone to clearing her name. "Let's fix this together," she suggested, and Claire, though haunted, nodded an uncertain agreement. The pathway to redeeming both their futures now, just opening. With the newfound alliance forged between Harper and Claire, they devised a plan to expose the truth behind the smartwatch incident. Harper understood that, in the tech world Jed Mallory inhabited, proof meant everything. Armed with the surveillance footage and a reluctant ally in Claire, Harper felt emboldened. Her aim was clear: to return the stained mark of disgrace to where it rightfully belonged and to clear her name. Their best opportunity to unveil the truth lay at an upcoming high-profile tech conference, where Jed Mallory and others from his echelons were expected to convene. The event would host innovators, investors, and enthusiasts, a perfect stage for their revelations. On the day of the conference, Harper could feel her heart racing as she blended with the throngs of attendees. Electing to keep her presence discreet, she wore an unassuming outfit, letting Claire take charge of their plan's initial stages. The once assistant now exhibited a growing resolve, shedding her previous reluctance to face public scrutiny. Harper felt anxious but determined. Claire was meant to approach Jed and distract him long enough for Harper to discreetly connect her device to the sound system. The goal was to commandeer the screens scattered around the conference hall and play the revealing footage. Harper took a breath, the crowd's energy a palpable buzz around her. While Claire steered Jed into benign conversation, Harper maneuvered through the sea of people, her focus solely on reaching the audiovisual station. She felt a thrill of rebellion intertwined with justified determination as she worked her hands along connections, the footage ready to broadcast with just a press of a button. Seizing the moment, Harper glanced at Claire, who offered a small nod of affirmation, signaling that the stage was set. With a deep, steadying breath, Harper pressed play. The screens flickered, drawing the collective gaze of those present. The footage started innocuously, routine video feed, but gradually panned to the focal moment, Claire discreetly tampering with Jed's smartwatch. Murmurs began among the crowd, followed by sharper whispers of surprise. When the explosion unfolded on screen, capturing attention with stark clarity, gasps rippled through the hall. Each frame painted Claire initially as the culprit, a sobering revelation that veered toward crescendo as Harper paused it just before the vanishing act, freezing Claire's guilty yet teammate-ready face onto sprawling displays. For a heartbeat, silence encapsulated the room, as if it pulled in a collective breath. Then, voices erupted, a mixture of disbelief, anger, and inquiry. Harper stepped forward from the shadows, taking her place next to Claire. The pair seemed a striking juxtaposition between accuser and accused. Jed stood at the room's epicenter, struck dumb by the revelations. His eyes moved from the screen to Harper and Claire, to the crowd quickly shifting its collective focus. The man renowned for his shrewdness found himself stripped of authority in that moment, unable to mount any coherent response to the visual evidence. Claire gathered herself, stepping forward to face Jed directly. "Jed, I never meant," she began, her voice loud enough to carry but pleadingly personal. Before the tidal wave of guests could descend upon them with questions, Harper spoke, a steady calm cutting through the rising din. "The truth unravels here, but as much as it might implicate Claire, there's more behind this incident that involves others pulling strings." At this, the delegates quieted enough to listen, rapt for the unfolding drama. Claire, galvanized by Harper's earlier conviction, added, "I was coerced to do this, threatened into complicity by someone who has influence. I was never the mastermind." Questions began launching from all corners, some hurled demands interspersed with flashes of camera light. Harper caught her breath, recognizing the opportunity to sway public opinion. People were listening, finally listening, and with it came responsibility. Jed, his face a contortion of fury and disbelief, demanded an explanation, overriding the initial clamor with, "Who? Point them out." It was a calculated risk, but Harper knew truth held its power. She directed attention back to the screen, where the captured footage became her most compelling witness. Claire, emboldened, sought Harley, a known rival of Jed's, this private spat fit for wider exposure. It hadn't definitively cleared Claire of wrongdoing, but it opened doors for legal recourse and reclaimed dignity. In the charged silence post-revelation, Harper addressed the gathered assembly one more time. "I came here to clear my name, to demand the justice I was denied the night I was humiliated. I never intended for blame to fall on someone who, like me, was pressured into silence, but I will hold accountable those who did so unscrupulously." Layers of richness and complexity settled in the room, an unresolved edge that promised deeper repercussions. Jed finally managed a reticent nod, lowered to a new humility by the experience. Far from cleared, yet on grounds of collaboration, he extended a hesitant truce towards Harper, as if acknowledging the equal contribution she made to salvaging and obscuring each party's fallibility. In the aftermath, murmurs of support and curiosity followed Harper as she navigated away from the epicenter of revelation. Strangers offered nods and deliberate glances of newfound respect, marveling at the daring showcase from once the humbly unnoticed server. As Harper exited the tumultuous environment she had boldly commandeered, Claire shadowed her, grappling with the consequences. Together, they managed to cause a seismic shift in perception, one that demanded redress and reevaluation not only of Harper's past but the murky waters within which both practitioners and visionaries coexisted. The sun dipped low, mingling shadows across Harper's path as she walked forward with unassailable spirit. No one glanced past her now, her name nestled comfortably into the new narrative of resilience and courage. As for Claire, her path of redemption lay before her, summoning accountability at every juncture, clearing amidst Harper's liberated wake. Leaving the building felt different this time, not stripped of dignity or shadows of clandestine operations. Her name, unburdened, hers to wield, polished, untouchable. The fallout from Harper's revelation at the tech conference rippled through the industry like waves through a pond, disturbing the calm surface of reputations and alliances long considered unshakable. In the following days, as the shock of the revelation settled, the true weight of the events became clear. Claire's role, once veiled in misdirection, was now starkly outlined, and those behind her actions faced mounting pressure. The scandal forced Jed Mallory's board to launch a full investigation into their internal security protocols and the shadowy figures implicated by Claire's revelations. Despite the chaos, the resolution cast a new light on Harper, a beacon of authenticity amid corporate subterfuge. Her courage transformed her from a mere server to a symbol of tenacity, a scenario neither she nor the onlookers could have ever anticipated. The recognition began modestly. Messages trickled into Harper's inbox, primarily expressions of gratitude and support from conference attendees and industry insiders who had witnessed her bold act. However, a pivotal moment arrived when Jed Mallory himself, after considerable delay, contacted Harper to issue a formal apology. His voice, though edged with lingering resentment, acknowledged not only his misjudgment but also Harper's undeniable courage. "I underestimated you," he admitted during their brief call. "Your actions reminded me of the principles that launched my own career. I'm extending an official apology, and if you're amenable, a proposal." Harper held the phone, stunned by the proposition. Jed's offer was unexpected, a chance to work with his team, not as retribution for his mistakes but as an opportunity, she determined, to embrace diversity in spirit and mind. While Harper processed this offer, the restaurant, eager to rewrite its hasty dismissal of her, reached out. The manager, Mr. Laughlin, invited her back not just as a server but as the head of their newly conceived customer relations department. With the restaurant's reputation in mind, he extended both a promotion and a public apology. Faced with two distinct paths to reclaim her professional life, Harper took time to ponder her options. Jed's offer promised re-entry into an arena infused with her academic passions, while the restaurant offered stability and recognition to the community she had come to cherish. Each choice was a divergence from her previous constraints and towards potential fulfillment. Her decision became clear following an unexpected message, this one from a renowned tech company represented at the conference. Their outreach included a lucrative internship proposal, a chance to reignite her stalled engineering ambitions with hands-on experience and industry mentorship, a culmination of all she once sought before her life's detour. This opportunity resonated not just with Harper's career path, it represented the solidarity she had showcased at the tech conference, a realignment with her true aspirations. Harper accepted the internship, a choice aligning with ethics, passion, and progress. Though Jed's apology was acknowledged, and the restaurant appreciatively thanked, it was this new chapter that promised growth and recovery, a complementary balance of her dedication toward justice and personal resurgence. With plans set and her trajectory chosen, Harper found herself back at the tech conference's venue. This time, she wasn't an anonymous contender lost in grandeur, but a figure embraced by audiences and networks, eyed not with suspicion but the budding, supportive curiosity afforded those who defy expectation. As Harper entered the hall, a series of handshakes and affirming nods welcomed her perspective. Industry insiders whispered admiration for her boldness and bravery amongst themselves, the transformed narrative cementing their dialogue. Taking her place on stage, sharing insights of resilience and transformation, Harper felt the once palpable buzz of judgment morph into respect. Her journey, shared through presentation and dialogue panels, spoke of empowerment and truth, her role shifting from participant to honored contributor in an ever-evolving industry context. As the session concluded, Harper collected her thoughts. Her time at the conference framed closure, igniting a journey of forward thinking, having shifted once daunting perspectives into opportunity and corrective growth. Stepping out of the conference center into the brisk evening air, Harper breathed deeply, the city lights glimmering anew, less dueling adversaries and more golden stars pointing the way forward. She walked, head held high, at peace with the reality she had crafted over appearances and half-truths. Leaving behind an establishment that once cast her aside felt different, transformative as she moved with purpose not born of a single act but a series of choices defining courage not merely as confrontation but as rebuilding from uncompromising truth. The city embraced her departure, not yet another figure lost in anonymity but respected and reinvigorated. It greeted Harper with the promise of a new dawn, woven into every vast potential course she charted henceforth, as both architect and adventurer, wiser and undeterred. In the grand tapestry of life, threads woven in rich experience, Harper stood at a threshold of claim and clarity, fully recognized, and she knew, irrevocably, she'd never again be invisible.